Australia is an incredibly ancient land. It has been sitting there for a very long time. The first people arrived many years ago. We think it was at least 65,000 years. That is a truly staggering amount of time. These were the ancestors of today's indigenous Australians. They walked across land bridges that are now underwater. They were the original explorers of this vast continent. Their culture is one of the oldest on Earth. It is deeply connected to the land itself. They call this connection the dream time or dreaming. This is not just about dreams you have at night. It explains how the world was made. It tells of giant spirit beings. These spirits shape the rocks, rivers, and animals. It forms their laws and their way of life. There wasn't just one indigenous group, you see. There were hundreds of different nations. Each had its own language, customs, and traditions. Imagine over 250 distinct languages being spoken. They were skilled hunters and gatherers. They knew everything about the plants and animals. They understood the seasons and the stars. This knowledge was passed down through generations in songs and stories. They lived in harmony with the environment for millennia. They managed the land carefully, sometimes using fire. This helped certain plants to grow and animals to thrive. It was a sustainable way of life for an incredibly long time. Then, one day, tall ships appeared on the horizon. This arrival would change everything for them, and for Australia itself. In 1770, a British explorer arrived. His name was Captain James Cook. He sailed along the east coast of Australia. He claimed the land for Great Britain. He called it New South Wales. Of course, people already lived there. The indigenous Australians had been there for thousands of years. But the British decided it was theirs to take. They planned to use it as a penal colony. So, in 1788, the first fleet arrived. 11 ships sailed into Botany Bay. They carried convicts from Britain's overcrowded prisons. The conditions on the ships were terrible. Botany Bay wasn't quite right for a settlement, so they moved a bit further north. They found a better spot called Sydney Cove. This was the very beginning of modern Sydney. Life was incredibly tough for everyone at first. The arrival of Europeans was devastating for indigenous people. Their lands were taken away from them. New diseases like smallpox spread rapidly. Many indigenous people died from these illnesses. There was also conflict and violence. The traditional way of life was severely disrupted. It was a period of immense loss and hardship. This marked the start of a long struggle for recognition. Slowly, the new colony began to grow. More convicts arrived, and then free settlers. They started farms and raised sheep for wool. Explorers bravely ventured into the unknown interior. They mapped out more of the vast continent. The settlement expanded beyond Sydney. Towns like Hobart in Tasmania were established. Australia was changing from a prison to a new home for some. Then, in the 1850s, something amazing happened. Gold was discovered. First in New South Wales, then in Victoria. Suddenly, Australia was the place to be. People came from all over the world. They dreamed of striking it rich. This was the Great Australian Gold Rush. Towns sprang up almost overnight near the gold fields. It was a wild and exciting time for many. The gold rush changed Australia dramatically. It brought a lot of money into the country. This wealth helped to build new cities and towns. Roads, railways, and telegraph lines were constructed. Melbourne and Sydney grew very quickly indeed. Australia became known as a land of opportunity. The population boomed, becoming more diverse. It wasn't just British people anymore. Many Chinese miners came too. After the gold rush excitement, the colonies started thinking. They thought about working together more closely. On the 1st of January 1901, something important happened. The 6 separate British colonies united. They became the Commonwealth of Australia. This was called Federation. Australia was now its own nation mostly. It still had strong ties to Great Britain, of course. Not long after becoming a nation, war broke out. This was World War I, from 1914 to 1918. Australia, as part of the British Empire, joined the fight. Many brave young Australian men went to war. They were known as Anzacs, with New Zealanders. They fought at Gallipoli in Turkey. It was a terrible battle with many losses. This event became very important to Australia's identity. They also fought bravely in World War II. After the Second World War, Australia changed again. The government realized the country needed more people. So they started a big immigration program. Millions of people came from Europe. They came from places like Britain, Italy, and Greece. Later, people came from Asia and other parts of the world. This made Australia a very multicultural country. It is one of its greatest strengths today. The economy also grew and changed. It wasn't just about sheep and wheat anymore. Australia developed strong mining industries. Iron ore and coal became major exports. Manufacturing and service industries also became important. The country built strong trade links, especially with Asia. Australia became a prosperous and modern economy. It is known for its high standard of living for many. There were important social changes too. People started to think more about Indigenous Australians. There was a growing movement for their rights. In 1967, a referendum allowed them to be counted in the census. The Mabo decision in 1992 was a landmark case. It recognized native title for the first time. The journey towards reconciliation is still ongoing. Australia also plays its part in world affairs, so Australia has come a very long way. From the ancient Dreamtime cultures, it has transformed. Through colonization, gold rushes, and world wars, it has become a diverse and dynamic nation. Modern Australia is a vibrant place, full of opportunities. It faces challenges too, like climate change, but it continues to evolve, looking to the future. It's quite a story for a sunburnt country.